God bless everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. Welcome back to Proverbial Insights, and we're doing chapter 21 of the book of Proverbs, okay? And this week, the verse that really called my attention is verse 16, and it says, "The person who strays away from the path of prudence will come to rest in the assembly of the departed spirits." And that's from the Christian Standard Bible. Then it says, this was the definition that I found. I decided to look it up, and prudence is actually a quality of being wise and judicious in thought and action, exercising good judgment and foresight. This is the ability to make decisions that align with God's will, okay? And so the way that we stray away from God, from the path of prudence, is when we end up making decisions based on our own emotions, and based on our own understanding. Pride gets in the way. If someone offends us, then we tend to lash out. We tend to act out in a way that is lacking self-control. We tend to make decisions, hasteful decisions, where we are doing them just based on our emotions. We're not seeking God to be able to help us to make the decisions that we need to make with wisdom. So, for example, we have unchecked pride within us that if someone says something to us, we're quick to offend. If, let's say, God has you in a waiting season and you get desperate and you start making decisions on your own because you're like, no, I have to get this done. Now, this is human. This is something that's going to happen. This is not because you're all wrong, you got it all wrong and everything like that. No, this is something that's going to happen. So because we are human, we're living in this world, there's deadlines, there's situations that come across that we have to make a decision, and those times become very crucial and you feel very desperate. During this time, I'm in a season of waiting where I have to wait on God to be able to see something through. I know that God is just like, wait on me. There's a reason why this whole process is being extended, why this whole process hasn't had an ending or a result yet. And I just need to wait on God, because if I make decisions based on my own desperation, on my lack of patience, then I know I'm going to have to end up dealing with consequences that I could have avoided if I just waited on God, okay? So that's how you can distinguish when you're straying away from the path of prudence, because your decision making doesn't come from a sound mind. It comes based on your emotions, and that's how you're making those decisions, okay? So, and we know that it's like we'll come to rest in the assembly of the departed spirits, and some say the congregation of the dead. It just means that once we stray away from prudence, we're straying away from the will of God. We're straying away from doing things that please God, being obedient to God. So of course, once we start doing that, then we are creating this disconnect between us and God. And yes, our spirits are going to be grieved. The Holy Spirit is grieved, and we are going to be grieved. We're going to be in a state where we feel empty and disconnected from God. So we want to make sure that every time that we have to make a decision, that a decision needs to be made in our lives, that we put it in prayer, that we put it before God's presence, and for God to be the one taking control. That we don't end up trying to make the situation exactly how we want it to be sorted out, but that God is the one that has the last word, and that He's going to be able to make a way the correct way. Whether it be something that we thought, no, that can't be that way. But God knows what He's doing in our lives, and we are just to be able to trust Him in what He wants for us. So seek wisdom first before any decisions are made. And if you're in a season where you need to wait, then practice patience and self-control. And remember, any decisions that you make, be of a sound mind and not based on emotions. All right, God bless everyone. See you next week for chapter 22. Bye.